We're bringing our Ludgate Presents series online. As the coronavirus spreads across the globe, businesses are increasingly challenged. Here at Ludgate, we are talking to seasoned business people for their advice and insights. Today, we're talking to Sean Keating, CEO of Vilicom, whose consultancy and system integration services harness wireless technology, data, and intelligent analytics. How important is leadership by business owners and managers in terms of responding to the situation and reassuring their workforce?
Really a critical time for leaders. I mean, if you're leading a company now, how you behave will be remembered for a long time to come. I suppose what we're doing here is we're planning for the worst and hoping for the best. We have scenarios. I mean, it's going okay so far. Got to have an open line of communication with the staff. You have to listen as well. I mean, the number one criticism of leaders tends to be that you're a poor listener. As well as that, you have to lead by example. You have to walk the talk, and your actions speak louder than words. So if you're asking people to go the extra mile or do something out of the ordinary or make an extra effort, you have to be prepared to do the same yourself. I know myself, I try to be just honest about what we do and don't know. I mean, nobody can predict the future exactly accurately, but we say this is what we know and this is what we don't know. This is what we're doing to find out. Frequent communication as well is really important. How frequent, however frequent you think would be the maximum, it needs to be more frequent than that. There's actually nothing wrong with repeating the key points that need to be made as well. And it is a time for leaders to shine as well. If you are going to be a good leader, it's in crises like this that give you a chance to show what your leadership skills are.
How are you communicating with your staff and teams?
Really how it works is we have daily communication. So because the teams are all remote and they can tend to get a little bit lonely as well. Some people love remote work and some people don't particularly like it. It's not my cup of tea, to be honest. I prefer to be in the buzz of an office around the team. But what we do is we do daily team check-ins over Microsoft Teams on video. I do a daily WhatsApp updates out to the staff. We have a weekly video conference and all hands. We've had 70 people come onto a video conference for that. For the important information like access guidelines, wash your hands, video conference and how it all works, how to access the IT system. We set up a communications hub on SharePoint. So it's a nice web page where you can access all the documents quickly so you're not digging through your email. At the end of the day, I think you just need to be honest in your communication. Some people are nervous as well. You got to listen to them and just communicate that bit of hope as well as the reality, that we will get through this because, other countries are through this now and they're out the other side, out in Asia, and we will eventually get to that point, hopefully as quickly as possible. One of the upsides of this actually is that I'm actually getting to talk to people in Vilicom a lot more than I would do normally. For example, do a virtual coffee morning, which is working quite well, where there's 4 or 5 of us have coffee together at 11 o'clock. And one of the interesting things about that is because we are located in different places in the UK and Ireland, there's actually 4 or 5 people that don't normally work together, spending time together online, having a coffee, which is nice,
How can business owners try and stay positive and focused on solutions?
Yeah, I get that one. You get stressed when you can't control things, and there's things happening outside your organisation and you have no control over, what the government is going to restrict, what the economy is going to do. That's stressful. Stress is the feeling of a lack of control. But there are definitely things you can do. If your staff isolated, are there things you can do there to keep them busy? Are there training things you can do? Are there internal projects that you can't always get to because you're so busy with customers? Can you put a bit of emphasis on those? Are there little bits of your services or your solutions that you can offer now that are particularly relevant? I mean, we started putting in mobile coverage solutions in people's homes for people who are remote working, and that's something we pushed on. I mean, when this was starting to break a few weeks ago, myself anyway, you go through ups and downs, a bit of a roller coaster. You feel positive one day, maybe you feel negative the next day. I remember I was in London and I was feeling quite down about the whole thing. What are we going to do? And just that home coverage thing, I came up with that idea. And you're not going to retire doing home coverage systems, but it's something that we can do to keep moving forward, to keep busy, to keep relevant as well, helping people who are stuck at home working or remote working in areas with no coverage. So that's how we've handled it, really.
What approaches are you taking in Vilicom to respond, and what's working well for you?
I tell you what's working really well is we put all our IT in the cloud middle of last year in Azure. So that's worked quite well. We've had to spin up new servers with extra capacity for remote access and things like that. That's gone really well. The remote working is actually going quite well. So In our contingency plan, we started contingency planning about 3 or 4 weeks before the remote working thing and the stay-at-home guidance was given by the government there on Thursday the 12th. We were a couple of weeks into planning at that stage, and actually we pulled together guides on how we'd work remotely, what would work for people, how the right things should be set up, and that worked really well. And actually the feedback I'm getting from teams is that the internal communication has actually improved for us since we've gone remote, because when it's business as usual, you'd rarely sit there and emphasise to people to communicate on a daily basis. But during this period, we're constantly saying to people, make an effort to communicate, and the communication's improved as a result. And other things we're doing is we're accelerating some of our internal projects, maybe that we don't always have time to work on. So that's really how we're responding.
Do you see opportunities for your business or other businesses coming out of the crisis?
One of the things in Vilicom, our vision is to be the smart choice for connectivity. We want to give people and things the freedom and ability to learn, share and work anywhere. And that's really relevant at the moment. Learn, share and work anywhere. And the systems and the connectivity we do allows that to happen. Telecoms is really strategic at the moment. I think if you were some David Attenborough type person and you were looking at humans and you stood back and observed how they behave, you have people who take a laptop from their house that's connected to the internet, put it in their car, drive an hour to work, connect the same computer to the same network in a different building, do a day's work and drive back. It's a huge waste. Now, back of it all, I suppose humans are social beings and they want to be together with other people, but there's a better balance can be struck there. And I think we're, anyway, in the telecom sector, we're in the middle of an unprecedented change, actually. The cost of data, the cost of broadband, I suppose, has fallen about 95% over the last 7 or 8 years. That has huge effects, non-linear effects, and there's a huge world opportunity coming out of that. So you talk about things like Industry 4.0. You had smartphones have transformed whole industries like music and food delivery, travel, things like that. And actually the networks now, data connectivity has got to the point where it's going to transform industry in the same way. So people will adopt more remote working, mobile and wireless communications will become more important. So there'll be big opportunities coming out the other side of this. And hopefully we can come out the other side of it reasonably intact and reasonably quickly, in a matter of months. It feels like forever at the moment. I feel like it's taken forever. But actually, if you look at the dates, what was it? Was it Lennon, I think, that said there are decades when nothing happens and there are weeks when decades happen? It feels like a long time now, but we're actually only 2 weeks remote working now. It feels like forever, So there'll be big change out the back of this.
Do you think at the end of this, there will be a change in company policy and culture when it comes to remote working?
Yeah, I think so. If it works for people and people have, like it's been a social experiment, I think, and there'll be some learnings. More companies that were afraid to implement remote working policies have been forced to do that experiment, see how it works. And some people will take some good learnings from it, and some people will realise what doesn't work as well. It's a bit like Yahoo, they banned homework and they said everybody needs to be together as a team. People will learn from this when they need to be together for good teamwork and when good teamwork can happen remotely. It'll probably be good for Ludgate as well, I suppose, to facilitate a lot of people working remotely from their maybe central offices, either in the States or in Dublin or in London or whatever. Hopefully the kids will be back in school, and people are doing the remote working as well. That helps.
Thank you for listening to Ludgate Presents with Sean Keating. Thanks to Sean and to our Ludgate Presents sponsors, AIB.